So I did watch Darby's video. Obviously, Darby and Liz are trying to distance themselves from Anthony. Although Darby did appear in Anthony's last video, posted just a week or two ago on YouTube. Maybe that was an old video. As Darby explained it, Anthony called them in, had them sign a NDA. They were at that point 1099, so they were not W-2 employees. And they signed the NDA, and they were distancing themselves. Anthony told them the truth, and they believed that they couldn't tell anyone because of the NDA. They then looked for a lawyer. That lawyer told them that the NDA was not applicable due to Anthony being a criminal. It's actually incorrect. So if you sign an NDA and it turns out your boss is a crime lord, you can still actually, as long as the things covered in the NDA are legal, you can still be sued. Now, the question is, what if it is illegal? Then you can say that the NDA does not cover illegal activities. And so no one can make you sign an NDA trying to hide clearly illegal activities that you know of. Now, Anthony's having them sign an NDA because he believes they know stuff. And it would not shock me if Anthony was confused about this as well, that it's not actually the individual that the NDA is trying to protect. It is the business the NDA is trying to protect. So, little bit of a legal conundrum. I don't know if the lawyer they're using is maybe a top-notch lawyer, or is it one of their friends, or just giving, legal advice. The second part is they did know early. Anthony sat them down to tell them the idea that debt is, good, and that businesses all have debt. I mean, I could understand maybe somebody who was incredibly uneducated would think that this level of debt makes sense for this volume of business. But I'll just leave it here. Did Darby and Liz benefit from this? Yes. They got to live in a nice apartment, much nicer than most people on Reddit and YouTube. It's a very nice apartment they chose themselves. Darby got to drive a very nice car, a Corvette. Again, a car that is much nicer than the majority of Americans. Their skill set, as Darby mentions, is he makes videos and Liz opens boxes. Nowhere in America can you find two individuals with this skill set driving a blue Corvette with a Lambo door and living in a place that is probably $5,000-6,000, people even speculate $10,000 a month rental. The other thing that is a little shady is, so they learned how to run a business from Anthony, so they're running a business where they are also selling luxury watches like Rolexes. It would concern me, A, how did they get the $90,000 seed money? Where did that money come from? It probably came from Anthony. And whose watches are you guys selling? Like, who are these watches? Like, are these watches stolen? Did they come from consignees? How can you be sure? I mean, Liz's skill sales and Darby's skill sales are very near zero. We've seen Liz try to be a salesperson. It didn't work out. She just held the phone, and then that was her commission sales for the day. How are they finding clients? How are they, their business model is set up exactly like Anthony's, and I would be very worried. I would be very worried if I was a consignee right now with them, because they have, maybe you can ask that they're better people, but the structure is messed up. They're using YouTube and Instagram the same way Anthony's using YouTube, Instagram. They might be on TikTok, I don't know. They are doing the same kind of consignment type of deals and hand delivery. It looks very similar to TPG on the surface. Now, you might say, the back end is all... No, I don't think so. I personally believe that when you come from... so I have a marketing business. Where did I learn most of how to run a marketing business? From my previous marketing business. My previous boss taught me a lot about how to run a business, good and bad. One of the reasons that I have such a troubled time with HR is because of what my boss taught me about HR and negotiating salaries and all of that. I believe it was wrong. It took me many years to figure out that it was probably wrong to negotiate that aggressively, right? Because it creates a very bad first taste for the company. But it is what it is. So where did Darby and Liz learn how to run a company? Well, I mean, they learned from Anthony. And they learned that debt is good because they were accepting debt, right? They said that they didn't have a problem with debt. They saw it was institutional investor. They didn't realize it was consignee. So they were 100% okay with the level of debt. And Darby's job was to follow Anthony around filming him. So Anthony must have received phone calls that he didn't want to answer, that he didn't respond to. This is wild that people support these two. I am shocked that they are getting the support. They knew ahead of time. They didn't publish immediately until it was too late. So there's two ways that I can look at this, right? If they had published earlier than the guy on TikTok, earlier than me, I published earlier than them, I'm not in the know. Okay? I do have sources, but they were not in the know in this either. It was a TikToker who published it and broke the news. A consignee had to break the news, not them, even though they were told. And the excuse of the NDA, I think it's bullshit. I think that's bullshit. Signing an NDA, if they had any intelligence level, they would say, no, why are you making me sign an NDA right now? I'm a 1099. Go F yourself. And B, seeing a lawyer, for that lawyer to tell them this very interesting information that they could have Googled themselves in about 1 minute. You know, most legal information is Googleable. Maybe you double check the information with the lawyer before you publish, but it wouldn't take this long. He's mentioning that he learned this weeks ago and they were distancing themselves weeks ago. Well, where was Darby weeks ago, where he could have saved other people who were still consigning or looking into consignment with TPG and Anthony? So, see, the problem here is Anthony was going hard at consignment. You saw that in his Instagram. Many people asked, okay, why is he still putting? Because he has to. It's obvious from the desperate tone of Anthony in the videos. He had no choice but to keep going. That's how a Ponzi works. It snowballs out of control, and now you're selling Mickey Mouse watches for $100 for a $10 profit, just so you can give $10 micro payment back to a guy who gave you an AP, just so that person doesn't make a TikTok video. There are some other interesting legal parts of this. I mean, it's very fascinating. You know, the person recording, were they in California, recording Anthony in California, one-party consent, can Anthony sue that person? Will Anthony be sued by the consignees? I assume a lot of them do have lawyers on retainer, and they will go hard on it. I have received at least 4 phone calls today from people, one person in New York, one person in Houston, from the Houston phone numbers, and I've listened to their voice recording. I can play them to you right now, and it's wild what's happening. But for God's sake, just think about how much they benefited. They're literally a box opener. She opens boxes and ships boxes. That's her job. That's what she's doing. And a videographer who barely makes one video a day, if one video a month, or barely, right? And somehow they're living a lifestyle reserved. I would consider myself pretty well off. I drive a Lexus that costs probably 1/3 of what the car Darby drives, and he's just a videographer. I don't have a nice watch collection like Darby that he received for free for his birthday. I didn't get eye surgery from my boss, right? I didn't get a kidney from my best friend or the money for a kidney, right? Quote, money. I didn't get a Malibu apartment for $5,000 to $10,000 a month rental. Follow the money. So forget your emotions. So this is the skill set I'm going to teach you. If you ever want to know who is the mastermind behind something, or follow the money, who benefits most from a decision. So in politics, if the government is using welfare money to build volleyball stadiums in Brett Favre's name, who does that benefit the most, right? Follow the money. It will not lead you astray. Wherever the money ends up, right? Wherever the money's being spent on luxury dinners and flexing and gyms and new custom shoes and whatever else, ice cream for Jimmy. Follow the blanking money, because I guarantee you that's the scam. That's the ringleader. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below about Liz and Darby in particular. I probably will do another series about each of them. I'm very tired. So unless there is incredible breaking news tonight, this should be my 5th video and my last video for tonight. I'll probably make some videos tomorrow. It is tough. There's a lot of work covering this, Sometimes I ask myself, why do I do this? And then I realize that I'm obsessed. You guys say, oh, I'm obsessed. Okay, cool, I am. What now? You're obsessed with watching my videos about Anthony. So, checkmate. Bye, guys.